Hello my fellow Pirate Warriors and welcome back to the channel. We're going to be doing the last mission guide for the Yamato special log, Go Adventuring on the Archipelago of Dancing Soap Bubbles. Now this one obviously is kind of a tough one. A lot of people have been having issues with this, at least when it initially came out about a week ago. But we're going to get through it really quick, show you some of my guides and tips on doing this mission, because I feel like there's kind of like a nice kind of pattern you can do. Obviously we're going to be using Yamato. So the way I like to break it down is that you see the 4 highlighted islands pretty much. I like to think that there's always going to be a submission somewhere in one of them. In this case, for the beginning section, there's 2 on the right island, 2 on the left island, 1 at the top, and then I believe 2 in the middle where a pirate commander and Luffy will spawn in. We're just going to get right into it. Again, hopefully you found these guides helpful. I will do them more promptly and a lot quicker when the next batch of DLC missions pop up, which should be probably the next time when you get characters, which should be the the Uta pack and all that stuff. There's nothing back here because you spawn back here. There's nothing on these sides, so you don't have to worry about investigating the bottom left or bottom right. So you can beat up the pirate commander as soon as you spawn it, because you literally spawn right in front of him. Just make sure if you beat up the pirate commander, you do not beat up Luffy. And I believe if you beat up Luffy, do not beat up the pirate commander. Because if you beat up Luffy, the search area is going to change from the top, islands to basically the bottom one. So if you do that, you're going to ruin the run, and that's basically going to mess it up, right? So a good way to kind of path, like the way to do all this stuff, is just, start from the right-hand island or the left, whatever, like clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever you want to go with. Just kind of start like this, and then you're going to work your way back to the middle, back to Luffy. So as you mentioned here, that Yamato's mentioning that there's quite a lot of folks here. So if you go here to the main area of this island, Uroj should spawn in after Buggy and his passionate soul stuff could stop talking. I think that's like the one negative, obviously, is that these characters spawn in. That's nothing new for these Musou games, but these characters spawn in and really slow down the kind of pace. So yeah, he spawns in as per usual. Just gotta give him the work. Should be pretty quick, obviously, not too much. We're just going to transform here to speed it up, and that way we have the infinite stamina stuff. And then boom, he's done. So in this same section, you're not done here yet. You're not done on this island yet. So in this same section, you're going to make your way to the back part after Yamato's done talking. There's going to be another section back here, like I mentioned before, about like checking these kind of big empty areas in the maps if you're looking for missions. So you're going to come back here, and you're basically going to be, attacking these hordes until, it says I think you have to beat 300 when the mission pops up. I'm just going to avoid, killing them all yet, because obviously now we can do it, it'll register. You just have to beat 300 enemies, back here, which should be obviously rather quick. Especially with Yamato or anyone, right? So alright, so we're already done with that one. And the villager leaves pieces out. So then what I like to do is obviously I like to kind of move up from here. So instead of going back to Luffy, back to the middle, we're just going to go up to the top island where there should be another mission waiting for us. Yamato obviously talks about all the amusement park stuff that's here. I'm just going to get these points right here. So if you go to, again, kind of like similar to a road, you go to the middle where like the fountain is at, and you're going to be met with, Bej spawning in. So we're just going to hit him with this. Maybe this will one-shot him. So yeah, you see kind of the pattern or the kind of the path that I'm using here to help me with actually like making sure I don't like have to keep backtracking back to the middle. Or for example, if I start at the top, then I go left or right, and then I have to go back, backtrack all the way to the opposite side. So instead of doing that, we're just gonna, kind of follow this path. So after that, we're done with this island. There's only one here, just to advise you. There's only one here, like I mentioned before. So then we're gonna go over here. So for this one's not on this kind of main island section here. It's down here on the actual like wharf, like this part over here of the island. And when you come down here, Killer is gonna be, I guess, getting scared by a mask, which is kind of funny. So you find Killer. So again, this is pretty much you're basically fighting the worst generation minus I guess Zoro, because you're fighting Uroj, Bej. I guess you don't fight Apu because I don't even think he's in the game, right? It's his like model and everything, unless you have to. I believe maybe you do fight him as an NPC. I don't remember. But yeah, you're basically fighting the entire worst generation. You're fighting, you know, Oroge, Bej, Killer, Law, and stuff like that. So after you finish it, you're probably thinking, okay, well that's it, right? Nope. So after you're done here, Yamato's gonna mention how even though that, you know, there's no more pirates, there seems to be more of a ruckus. So you just have to kind of hover in this area right here. And yeah, see the pirate commander will spawn in. He'll spawn in. So I believe you need to be him with a 500 hit combo. So do not, like the last ones were kind of like 300, but this one's 500, right? Which again should be easy. Like getting, it really shouldn't be too difficult to get 500. Then boom, we got 500. I don't know though. I almost messed that up because I forgot to do the triangle string where I was gonna do like the tornado. This one, which obviously, you know, stacks up a lot quicker. So then now, after that one is done, you are done with the first section of the missions of this map. So now you can come back and beat Luffy, and then you'll continue with the next search area. So after that's done, it's gonna switch from the top islands to the bottom islands, right? So in the middle here is going to be 3 pirate commanders and then Law. Again, we're just going to kind of ignore them, kind of follow the same path like I mentioned before, where we're going to go. This time we're going to work from the right-hand side island to the left and then back to the middle. I may as well just be at least one of them. Might as well since I'm here. Again, I think this map more so than the other maps does definitely deal with, you know, kind of time crunch in a lot of the sense. So obviously this one, if you're strong enough, your character's strong enough and fast enough, like Katakuri, a lot of characters blitz through this. Obviously, characters like Whitebeard that might beat enemies a lot quicker. But for the for the sake of this video, I'm obviously using Yamato because I want to obviously kind of role play that this is, you know, Yamato's adventure. So why would I not be using Yamato, right? Rather than accompanying Yamato. So when you're on this section of the map, what you're gonna do is just come right here, and then you're gonna find Hawkins, like fortune telling or whatever, you know, whatever you were doing. Again, same shtick, beat him up, and then just progress. There's only one, you know, fight on this side of the island, which is Hawkins. By the way, if you do your boy a favor and leave a like and subscribe if you're finding this helpful. I know a lot of you are probably questioning what to do, where to find these things and stuff like that. So hopefully this has come at a good time for you and help you out. So if you just do me a favor, we're so close to 5K, I'll greatly appreciate it. Alright, so once we're done with that, we're going to move to the Navy base section, where we're going to encounter 2 missions. There's actually 2 missions down here. The first one being, obviously, Drake is going to, you know, again, like I told you, it's basically the worst generation, you know, type of fight. And it makes sense because, obviously, that's where all of them kind of debuted in, you know, Sabaody. So, we're going to fight Drake, or, you know, or not. He's going to interrupt me. So, we're going to fight Drake, get rid of this first part. Should be dead. Yep. Okay. A little bit of frame drop here. I don't know if that was through my OBS or stuff. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. So then once you're done, you're going to walk down here after the dialogue with Yamato is over. There should be like, yeah, another like marine like sentries and all that stuff should spawn in. You just want to beat them up before the time limit is over. It shouldn't be too hard, obviously, if you're like high enough level. And if you're also, even if you're level 18 and you're not like, you don't have all the soul map boosted like I do, there's enough skills and stuff with, you know, the new soul map and even like prior stuff that should be good enough for you to able to, you know, actually complete it. So like I said, you beat Drake, you come down to this section right here, and then there will be like the sentries that spawn in. So afterwards, we're going to move to the left-hand side island, and there should be another 2 missions over there. Yamato mentioned that there's, you know, sounds like trouble on the other side of the forest. And this is referring to Kid, who should spawn in right here. Yep, so if you see on the map right here, he spawned in. Again, then all you have to do is just beat him up. Man, speaking of characters that need an upgrade, man, I feel like Kid in this game, I mean, he's cool, but... Like, Law is pretty cool, but I feel like obviously they can add, like, his awakening and stuff like that. But Kid, I feel like, is just so untapped potential. I don't think any one of his moves are even properly named, which is crazy. Obviously, this game came out 3 years ago, but it's still kind of crazy. So obviously you beat Kid up, but there's also one more mission over here. And it's behind the tree and to this other half of the island right here. you see how Yamato mentions they aren't calling in any more Marines, right? So another section where we're gonna have to, you know, we go behind here, and then boom, messenger spawns in. You can obviously go through the other side and be, you know, you spawn in quick, you know, closer to the messenger. But regardless, I mean, they're not getting anywhere, let's be honest. So then that completes the rest of the islands, and you are okay to beat up Law and then the 2 pirate commanders. Alright, so once you beat up Law and then the 2, you know, the rest of the pirate commanders, if you left anyone alive, it should switch the entire, or most of the map to the yellow Marines. Yeah, exactly. So basically, they broke up the missions into basically 2 halves. There's one half on the right-hand side and then another on the left-hand side. So again, we're going to kind of work like clockwise. We're going to start from this island right here and then move towards the right. So obviously, a mission is to beat the Marine Commanders. Again, do not beat them until you finish all these sections. I believe this only pops up if you beat the other sections of the, you know, of the other sub-stories, which is if you fought the, you know, Killer, Rouge, and, you know, Luffy and all that stuff. If you fought all of them, the worst generation should basically, you know, have an allied force where you have to fight every single one of them. This is the part where it could take you some time, which is why I know, like, look, even compared to my other missions, where I had like 12, 13 minutes left over, this is one where it could be a little bit, you know, close to the chest. So at least we have a good kind of spawn. I think it's random, depending maybe if you beat one of them first, but it might be random or through a selected path who comes to help you out. And I'm kind of glad that we got, you know, Hawkins, because when Hawkins is one that you fight, he, you know, spawns in with his kind of old BS where, you know, he has to, like, he has his underlings and stuff like that. And you have to, like, you have to kill them before you kill him, because if you don't, then, you know, he's just gonna, like, you know, regenerate and get back up, right? So in this case, we got a kind of a good roll, I guess, where we have, you know, Law, Drake, and Kid. So for both sections, both like sides of the map, there's gonna be like 2 on the main island and 1 on the other island. What I try, which is kind of good in this case because we still have to capture it. So fighting all these enemies is honestly kind of a good thing. So Kid is here with a bunch of enemies, right? So we're just gonna do this and just capture the entire territory. So that completes the right-hand side of the map. So we just gotta be careful and just keep moving forward. What I like to do too is obviously like I mentioned before, I don't like to defeat all the, you know, the pirate commanders, marine commanders, whatever. But because they're, you know, on the way, and the last one is gonna be the one at the top anyway, and you have to capture territories in this case too, so I don't think it matters if we beat all 3 of them because we still have to capture them to complete the mission. So what we're going to do is just, again, keep moving. So we're going to move through here now. And if you want to make this section easier, I believe there is a skill that allows you to actually just capture territories a little bit easier. If you really need that, it's, you know, if you just want to complete the mission. So, but on this section of the island, on the top, a good thing to know is that even though some of the enemies spawn down here, they don't spawn in until you go to the top island. Like the top left is where we'll encounter the next sub-story. But obviously, since we're down here, we're just going to capture this. And with that, we captured the next one. So now, as you see here, we're kind of making good time. I know it looks like 3 minutes only, you know, it's kind of rough. But now we only have 2 territories to capture, and then 1 pirate commander, and then 1 sub-story, pretty much. So we did kind of have a bad roll. I guess you know, our allies on the right-hand side couldn't hold it down, so we're just gonna have to speed this up a little bit and have to recapture that area. So then when you come up here, it should spawn Bege, or what, you know, one of the 3. Luffy, I think, is one you'll always fight, but this time we got Rouge to come help. So this time we fight with, or, you know, we fight against Luffy, Killer, and Bege. We're just gonna get this done really quick. Okay, we're not doing too bad. Looks like somebody in the middle island is giving the work to there, because now the leader popped up there. So, you know, the last mission up here, like I said, is you have to fight another 3 of the worst generation. So now we're about to beat Bege, we beat Luffy, and then we beat Killer. So then that's this sub-story, and then you are free to capture the last 2 territories and to beat the last captain. I believe I'm gonna beat the captain here for time anyway, and I'm gonna, you know, transform because we only have 2 minutes. So I'm gonna transform here and then beat the last commander anyway, just to get us a speed boost. Because, like I said, I don't think in this section if you beat all the commanders it does anything. But I think the pathing, I know there might be a faster way, there might be faster characters, who knows? But we're just gonna do this, capture this territory too, and then get this, you know, little speed boost, you know, boost in time as well. We're fine though. Not stressing. Oh, who? Yeah. So we have to recapture this area. I guess the little, like, yeah, you. I guess this person was the one that like held it down and captured everything, huh? It's fine though. We capture things way quick because there's so many enemies to fight. Now, let's say you capture all of these territories and then like the mission progresses because you know technically captured it all, but then somehow they fall and like the Marines recapture it. You're fine. It'll already register that you already completed the mission, so don't worry about that. Okay, so that's it. So now we're moving to the final section of this map. Where you have to fight Blackbeard, which is pretty interesting. I would, like I said, I think I would have plucked Blackbeard and put him in Marineford with maybe Ace and Whitebeard. I think that would have been a cooler like final mission for that one, because obviously it is kind of weird that Yamato is adventuring through Marineford and just kind of like almost on a sprawl, while this is like where one of the most important people in Yamato's lives like met his end. It's kind of messed up. So we're just gonna beat Blackbeard here. Could be enough. As per usual, he should have been the final boss, but he isn't. Then Luffy pops up. He re-pops up and then he just like, Yamato, like let's fight, let's duke it out. And Yamato wants to prove that he is more Oden than Luffy, which is kind of funny. Become worthy of the name of Oden, which obviously makes sense because this is the final mission of this DLC. So it makes sense that like the last one is for you to kind of like come full circle. Even though it's kind of funny, I would have. There's some interesting choices. I get why they maybe picked Luffy. So, and then that's it. You do all the missions, you beat Blackbeard, and then Luffy will pop up, and you have to prove that you are the real Oden. I'm truly Kozuki Oden. Yep, that's me. So, I think this one's pretty cool. Like I said, I think the coolest and maybe missed opportunity that they had with these like side missions and all that stuff with the bonus like fight at the end. I think they had a missed opportunity to make this one the Wano stage and then have it be where, you know, yeah, that's where you fight the actual Kozuki Oden like from the first mission, and then kind of do it in reverse, because I feel like that was more of a, you know, a surprise, because that one kind of caught me off guard. And obviously because Yamato identity and all that stuff is based all about, you know, the stories of Oden and stuff like that. So I think it would have been a more impactful finale if this last mission was either the one in Wano, like they reversed it, and then you fought like the Oden like you did in the first one. Because I think out of all the finales that we had, I think that one is, the first one is the coolest one, because the second one you just kind of fight Big Mom, Judge, and Katakuri, I think. The third one you just fight all the like marine admirals, like fleet admirals pretty much. You fight Kizaru, Akainu, Fujitora, and Sengoku. And then here you just, you know, you beat Blackbeard. And I know Luffy's obviously, you know, the GOAT. But here it's kind of underwhelming where you just fight Luffy at the end, and it's kind of just like, okay, well, they could have, I feel like they could have done something with maybe an Ace one. Like I said, if they added Ace in Marineford, I know it doesn't make sense, but, you know, it doesn't make sense that Oden's in Wano, right? So, you know, it would have been cool if they had some more, like, unique dialogues and stuff with Ace or Whitebeard or something. But, yeah, that's going to do it for the guides for now. Obviously, when the next episode pack comes out, I will continue to do these for you all. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you didn't find it too long. I'm going to probably cut it up to make it a more digestible size, because obviously this mission is pretty long and lengthy, and there's a lot to do, and you're also wondering about so much about time. For all that being said, hope you liked it, you know, like the video, and you subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And leave a comment down below if you found this video helpful, and if you enjoyed, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.